Ta-da! 4 o'clock, more or less. This is the Jimmy Doane Show. We're live right now. We'll begin talking in just 1 minute. Skip ahead 1 minute if you don't want to hear this little intro. But we do this twice a week right here on Facebook, Sundays and Wednesdays, 4 o'clock New York time. Search around the web for Jimmy Doane, D-O-A-N-E, to find us in audio format. And today is the 5th day of July 2020. You can post some messages here somewhere, and I'll try to check during the video here and see if you got any questions or comments. Anyway, good to have you. If you're here with us, what is happening, Dr. Doane? We're in the studio.
Well, more or less.
You're at Hogwarts there.
I'm at Hogwarts. Good deal. Well, it is interesting. I did put something up on my my regular Facebook page.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What happened was I didn't realize this, but last July 4th we were in Scottsdale.
Mm-hmm.
AZ at your Mensa thing.
That's right.
And so I did a show from there.
Oh, okay.
And had my niece in the background.
Oh yeah.
And so I think that video went viral.
Most watched ever
Jimmy Doane show. Oh my God!
She should have been our mascot from the beginning.
Boy, yeah, that's the truth too. So anyway, I think it's up there on the thing. Okay, big news.
PJ, if you're listening, send us 2 pictures a week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'll put those up there. So big news. Kanye West.
Right.
Kanye West yesterday, I think, decided to run for president. Now, he's married to
Kim Kardashian.
Kim Kardashian. It's Kim, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, she's almost a billionaire.
Oh, yeah, sure.
She sold for 20% of her makeup line or whatever it was.
Okay.
Let's see, she's a billionaire of KKW.
I think Kylie's is the makeup line, but maybe she's in it with her.
She said of her KKW Beauty last month.
KKK. Oh no.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Kanye.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
I threw an extra K in there.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Right. And I don't think so. Anyway, that's why she sold it. Okay.
Right.
So anyway. So
I disassociate from that letter.
It does, yeah. It does appear that he might have. Now he's rich too, right? Isn't he an ex-rapper? But he has a clothing line or something.
Yeah, at least one, probably a couple. Yeah. He's branched out into all kinds of stuff.
So he could afford to run.
Yeah, he's a billionaire also.
Yeah. Okay. So
and so is their sister Kylie.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, and the dad is like hundreds of millionaires or something.
Well, not too shabby.
Yeah, no, and the other sisters are not poor either. But
well, the nice thing though would be see Kanye and what's her name in the White House.
Yeah.
So did it get any better?
Well, okay. So in all seriousness, a couple of hurdles just to begin.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, let's just see.
Okay.
So realistically, can anybody enter the race at this point? They can't get on the ballot in certain states on the ballot, but everybody can be written in, right, at the last minute.
Yeah, but nobody does that.
Well, it's super hard to do. I mean, to win that way in certain states. So do you think enough states have gone by so that nobody could theoretically even enter the race at this point?
So you mean you have to get the 271,
right,
in the electoral college?
Unless, of course, they win it at one of the conventions, presuming there are conventions.
That's true. And of course, he's going to have to run as a Republican, right? I mean, didn't she go to the Trumpster to get somebody released from jail?
Yeah, but they could. Okay, but what? They could claim, I think, that was a move. Hey, we were just playing chess over there, 4D chess going on. No, I think you could be right. He may have to run as a Republican if he were to try to get not an independent position. But I don't know, maybe not. I mean, the black vote traditionally is
Democrat. That's number one, and then she's got the huge tit vote, female. I mean, the female vote, and the short person vote, and the no. But I mean, she's they're quite the mixed couple.
Well, and they're Hollywood, which is Democrat.
Hollywood, that's right.
And so, wouldn't it be interesting for him to run as a Democrat, to just try to swoop in, right,
and tell
I mean, okay, let me ask you a more serious question, but along the same lines. Do you think, okay, we're 4 months out today.
Mm-hmm.
Are we seeing the lineup? Is it Trump v. Biden?
Yeah.
So no chance Biden drops out and swapped out for Hillary?
Well, you never say never. And
Never say never?
No, no chance. I think that there's a...
Cognitive thing, anything? I mean...
I tell you, that it could be, that could be. One of the things is, as we won't know, I just had a thing here that, that Susan Rice is now being...
Oh my God.
Yeah, she is. Susan Rice has seen her stock rise in the VP race, yes.
That's like somebody's publicist
Well, it
article or
says
something.
here, of course,
Susan
Kamala
Rice.
Harris and Elizabeth Warren are getting most of the buzz, but former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Susan Rice, is getting a lot of attention in Joe Biden's campaign as he considers whom to pick, is what it should be. Yeah, who to pick.
They don't even have good grammar.
No, and it's running mate sources say. Rice,
Sources, yeah.
Rice also served as President Obama's national security advisor and seen her stock rise amid a series of crises, including COVID-19 pandemic. Now, a source close to Biden said she's really in the mix.
Her publicist is
Whatever,
the
yeah,
sources.
close to right, okay. So it says the two work closely in the Obama administration and personal chemistry.
Yeah, they were both in the same hemisphere.
Yeah, they work closely together and they have good chemistry.
Yeah. So, in other words, they had a date one time.
I don't know how you say that, but I mean certainly when you look at what Kamala and what's her name Warren have said about Biden in past times, it hadn't been real good.
No.
So
well, and look, Susan Rice is best known for lying to everybody.
oh, okay, well, yeah, that's a politician.
Yeah, well, that's true, and she came out and did her backstabby best to the people. I mean, to toe the line for Obama, and then they hung her out to dry immediately.
Yeah,
But that's not. I mean, I guess we do pick some pretty horrendous vice presidents sometimes.
yeah. You know what's interesting? Here's one of the things you can have some fun with. Can you name all the states? That's
Of course,
kind of a fun thing to do. Typically you can name, anywhere from 6 to maybe 20.
Well, all the capitals is the next
Then
one.
the capitals, right. Then the capitals, that's right. The capital's the next one. So vice presidents, yeah, good luck.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I mean, there's, I bet you couldn't name 3.
Seriously.
And so...
I was going to say 20, but still.
no, you couldn't even name, I don't think you could name 20. You'd really have to know your history to name 20. I mean, that'd be something else. Okay. Because there's only been 45 presidents, so...
Yeah.
There've been 45 vice presidents.
Yeah, maybe a couple more, but a couple of them overlap, so that's
Well,
what
that's
you get.
true. Not only that, there was certainly another vice president under
The ones who got
Ford.
ascended, right?
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Okay. So didn't Askew get booted? Not Askew. What's his name? The guy from Baltimore that was a crook, and no, not Askew was our. No, I think he was. Well, whatever. Doesn't matter. So we're looking at the Kardashians to see they got plenty of dough.
Well, okay, so nobody's getting
Not going to
in.
happen.
Yeah.
Not going to happen. The next thing I've got is I had a very extensive. I read an essay by a fellow
Okay.
that said, this is really truly amazing that we have the celebration of our independence on when we're locked down.
Right.
What is that? How can you're not even allowed to go out and supposedly set off some fireworks or meet to get together? Now, I did see that a lot of people said, screw it, we're going.
Yeah.
And there have been some, apparently, I forget exactly what it was, but there was a fellow here locally that went over to our West Coast, and he said he was astonished, amazed, and astounded that the people over there were all Trump supporters, and none of them were wearing masks. And he was horrified horrified, mind you, that this, you know, this is what tells you about Trump. So I mean, he's an editorial. He's number 2 on our paper here, and he's, you know, hates Trump. It's pretty obvious. I thought it was kind of. So
Right.
anyway,
Ain't nothing about DeSantis?
no, didn't see it today. No.
Well, no, I meant from that particular rant. You know, that's
No, didn't
that's
see.
how you
No. I mean, there have been some. I think there might have been a letter. to the
Yeah,
editor.
no. What I'm saying is you can identify if somebody's attaching something to Trump that's not. They don't include the appropriate authorities, the other appropriate authorities.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. How many Americans on July 4th day greeted July 4th with gratitude that their governor is no longer compelling them to shelter in place or stay at home so they can celebrate their freedom?
Right.
Most of the media are ignoring the fact that Independence Day is occurring under the most dictatorial restrictions of the modern era. But anyone who values their liberty must recognize the great political unleashing that has occurred this year and makes a mockery of the Founding Fathers' intentions.
A mockery, a sham of a mockery.
Governors across the nation earlier this year proved that the Bill of Rights is a parchment barrier that can be easily shredded by invoking their emergency powers. I think we've seen that before. Michigan Governor Gretchen, what a name, Gretchen Whitmer, prohibited all public and private gatherings of any size. She prohibited, in Michigan, okay, this is great.
Yeah.
Prohibiting people from visiting friends. Also prohibited purchasing seeds
Yeah.
for spring planting in stores.
That's an old one, but
I know it is, but still, well, it's old. Like it's not geologically old. I mean, it's not like the
Right,
Permian
no, it's
shale.
months old. Yeah, that's it.
This is that's right. It's a couple of months, but still, she did it, and I thought it was interesting that
light years ago.
Yeah. No. Well, yes, late.
Well, no, California's governor just did a new banning where they say you can't go party with anybody that you don't live with, which is the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
No public gatherings, basically. Look, as we have said from the beginning, we expected that the executive moves, they do something, and then we expected a response from the business community, a tidal wave of lawsuits to undo the unjust lockdowns. But
I haven't seen a tidal wave of them.
well, no, and it's because I think that the people basically trusted the government.
I think the businesses were just chicken.
Well, I mean, we talked to a couple of totally anecdotal proof we have,
Okay.
bro science,
Okay.
where the restaurateurs said, well, the people don't want to come out anyway, kind of a thing. And so I don't know, but yeah, I mean, with you, at the end of the day, I think a lot of people. I would have expected a lot more lawsuits. Now, maybe people are just waiting for now. Maybe now is the time. If there's a second wave, maybe then they'll sue, because then they can really prove it's shutting them down, it's onerous, and it's going to collapse a bunch of businesses.
We're going
with
to
the
see a
weight
lot of that.
their
One of the
hand.
things that we did see in the paper, in our local mullet wrapper, one of the headlines was this huge spike again, because blah, 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 we're really in for it now, and so forth. But what you need to do is to go read Jeff Childers' column today, and it turns out we're on the down. We had zero deaths, zero new people.
Hospitalizations and deaths are down.
Way down and headed down.
Right. Well, you can infer that from the headline itself. That is, the headline says 11,000 new cases, which is a shocking number and very large. But by virtue of the fact that they don't say X number of hospitalizations and X numbers of deaths,
yes, right.
which you know that they would say if they could say,
Right. No, that's right. No,
then
the
you
fact
know
is,
that there haven't been a bunch of new hospitalizations.
the problem, as you know, one of the problems that the hospitals have is in order to make money, they're supposed to keep their ICUs 80% full.
Yeah.
I mean, that's big bucks to have somebody in the ICU.
Well, and also apparently, and I have no idea the veracity of this statement, but but I'm going to say it anyway.
Go for it.
One hears the little birds chirp say that if the death is designated as a COVID death, that there's some additional monetary reimbursement for the hospital.
Okay.
Now, to me, that sounds like a urban legend type of thing.
Could very well be.
It expects that some deception on the part of the hospital coroner, basically, like, oh, you got Fast Eddie down, and oh yeah, it's a COVID death. Everybody knows Eddie. Boy, he's good at naming those deaths. And
you're right. Well, it was, it started off as lead poisoning with a .38 caliber, but it basically succumbed to the COVID-19.
Death by protest.
That's it.
Yeah.
No, but that's one of the things that people talk about is we're filling up here, but the hospitals normally keep it, when you talk about the glass being half full or half, they like to be at 80-85% on their...
Yeah, it's a business.
It's a business.
You gotta have
You gotta have it. Otherwise, and what's happened is, since so many people were putting off stuff because of the COVID, the hospitals were sending people home.
Well, yeah.
Bad sending them home. I mean, we're talking about people that are high-paying type people, nurses and...
Yeah, well, I mean, I read some things like that and did hear some nurses chirp in and say that kind of thing was happening at their particular places of work. I don't know how widespread it was ultimately. I don't know if we've got reliable numbers.
We'll find out. But I have noticed that our buddy Jeff Childers keeps up every day. He has been doing it for like 2 or 3 months now.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's really fantastic. And what it shows is that here in Alachua County, we are so far below. We got nothing going here. I mean, nothing.
Killing it. I think they're doing real well in Ocala, Marion County as well.
Could very well be south of us, but in Alachua County, why anybody goes out and starts and is all panicky about wearing masks? There's nothing going on here.
Well, I mean, one could easily infer that it's because of the vigilance of the mask wearing that we have managed to not spread. You can't separate the causative effect,
Well, except for the fact that as soon as they relinquish the mask business, we expect all the people that have been held off getting sick are suddenly going to get sick. Should have happened anyway.
Well, we knew that, right?
There was a guy, and I think Jeffrey talked about this. He had an extensive thing today about some doctor that 150 years ago came out with this, the way all of these pandemics, the way they all work, they spike and they tail off. End of story. They all do that, and of course what has happened here, everybody's talking about leveling the playing field or whatever, and they squashed that curve down. Right, yeah. You're still going to get the same number,
right?
But it's spread out over 6 months instead of all done in a month.
Right. And so the only problem now would be if all of these infections turn into hospitalizations and or deaths, and we'll see in the next week or two if people start going into the hospital, but. So far, so good. Yeah,
so far, so good. Now, what I was just saying that the what was it? In Michigan they prohibited from buying seeds because they were non-essential.
Right. Yeah.
However, amid the COVID crisis, Havana tells its citizens to grow your own food. What they've said is, or starve.
Well, you got a choice.
Cuba can't. Right. You always have a choice. Cuba must develop its program of municipal self-sustainability definitively and with urgency in the face of the obsessive and tightened U.S. blockade of the food crisis COVID-19 will leave. So this Jose Ramon Mercado Ventura, deputy leader of the Cuban Communist Party, was quoted as saying, the Communist Party, what they've done, and of course this is also scary, has distributed leaflets to cities and towns to inform citizens of how to grow their own food. So I thought that was, one of the things is when you get a leaflet from the government, you say, really?
Oh yeah.
So
thank God, saved again.
Yeah, that's right. So okay, the next item I have, Virginia orders an American flag to be removed from a construction site.
What?
Yeah. state officials in Virginia, now that's a kind of a clicky bait thing to look at, but let me just tell you.
Okay.
State officials in Virginia ordered the removal of a large American flag from a construction site ahead of the 4th of July. Now, you've seen these flags before. They're huge. I mean, they're 50 by 50 or something.
Right.
They're monsters. Calling it a potential target for people protesting racial injustice and police brutality. So the spokeswoman for the State Department of General Services said officials asked a contractor to take down the flag from his new office building, and it's under construction. So apparently what they've done is put this flag on the top of this building, and they said, well, we're going to do a little
It's
proactive.
a symbol of hate.
That's it. Right, exactly. Since when is this flag? Now, here's one of the responses. Since when is this flag on the weekend in this country a target? Eric Winston of someplace or another wrote in a Facebook post, according to the newspaper. Let me guess. If I had a Black Lives Matter flag, it would be just fine. So, anyway, apparently the guy, the general contractor, said, okay, if that's what you're worried about, and went and took it voluntarily.
Yeah, sure.
Took it down. Yeah. So.
Well, I presume the guy made a business decision based on his read of the of his licensing situation in the area. And
yeah, exactly.
Maybe his availability to get contracts. Here we have
not only contract. Oh yeah, I saw that.
3 minutes of golden retrievers, just as a
pool party.
Just something to lighten the mood.
Look at that. I mean, are there enough of them there?
Yeah.
Are they having fun?
They are having so much fun, and there's no fighting or anything. And there's even a couple of other random dogs in there as well.
But they're not social distancing.
Nope. See, there's a big white dog there.
He might be an albino.
No, I think this one's,
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, I saw
more part shepherd. And there's the big other one. Okay,
yeah. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Susan Rice we talked about. Now, the next big news.
Okay.
Big news. We talked about a little bit about the arrest of, what's her name?
Yes, Giselle. No, well, did we talk about it? Did it happen already?
I think so. It was up there in 150 acres in New Hampshire in some mansion. Did we?
Yeah, I don't think it had happened. I think it happened like the day we.
Oh, maybe
we got off.
See, this is Sunday. Yeah, okay, maybe. But of course, the thing is that and now apparently she's still being held up there in New Hampshire.
Okay.
She's on a suicide watch.
Okay.
Which means 24/7, somebody's sitting there.
I think Epstein was on suicide watch too. He had gone on and off.
Yeah, he'd gone on and off, right. But I mean, you wonder, if you're in jail, have you ever seen what the jail cells typically look like?
Who? Me? Are you kidding me?
You've been to a lot of them. I've been inside them. So I mean,
I've been inside hundreds of them.
Well, that's what I mean. But I mean, what about the privacy?
Well, it depends on the type of jail cell that you're in. There are some where the only window is a little window like this. Mm-hmm. There are plenty like that.
Okay.
Where there's a sliding door and boom, it closes back and that's it.
Yeah, well, that ain't you're under no suicide watch if that's what it is.
Well, no, that could easily be because it's just a matter of you're separated off from the other people in certain ways.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to be looking at this person to make sure they don't,
Well, no, that's not exactly what suicide watch means.
Oh, it is? Oh,
no.
okay. Oh,
no, it doesn't. No, the watch part is. No.
Are you talking about suicide?
Yeah, exactly. That's actually more accurately describes the watch part of it than
this is my suicide watch right here.
Yeah, that is it, and probably that is all it is. Look, each particular holding facility probably can define it whatever way they want to, and what they most likely define it as is separated off from other or violent people, at least, probably in their own facility, in their own little.
It's in New Hampshire.
Yeah,
a lot of violent people in New Hampshire.
Well, I'm just saying, as opposed to separate off from everybody. For example, they may put you just in you're just in the
general.
General population, but we trust everybody in there.
Yeah,
so you're on suicide watch.
Well,
exactly.
If you were in Canada, that might work.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Good to see you, buddy. Yeah. But not here in this.
Oh, my lawn got too high.
Yeah.
It's okay though. I deserved it. So this may be that they check on him every 12 hours or something like that. I mean,
suicide. How long does it take to commit suicide?
12 hours is what.
Yeah, right. That's what
13 hours.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right. No, the bottom line is, and of course, you know the memes are going. They're all over the place.
Right.
And here's the deal: she knows too much. Epstein's victim's lawyer warns Ghislaine, whatever it is, Maxwell, may kill herself or, quote, be silenced to stop her from spilling the secrets on pals.
Poor girl.
The socialite, who is the daughter of disgraced media mogul Robert Maxwell, faces up to 35 years in prison if she is found guilty. She is currently detained in the Merrimack County Jail in Bocaswin, whatever it is, New Hampshire, but we soon transferred to a tough New York prison.
35 years.
Yeah.
That's not very long. I mean,
well, what is she? What is she? 40?
Actually, I saw what must be a fake birth certificate, which put her at 26.
Oh yeah, right.
I know. That's why I said it must be.
I don't think so.
Must be.
I don't think so.
So yeah.
No, that's anyway. But that's what's interesting to me is the fact that they're gonna move her, obviously one way, shape, or form. I guess gonna drive her down to New York City.
That's it.
And you know what's gonna happen on the way? I don't know. She fell out or what?
Prison plane.
Well, yeah, right.
Nick
Remember that movie?
Cage? Yeah, that's it.
Oh my God.
It goes down.
Well, I tell you, I think that a lot of people are. I mean, it's kind of interesting. The word is that she's apparently, and again, this is all. Who knows what this is all about?
Yeah.
But there's a rumor going around that she's going to spill the beans.
Well, on who? And I mean,
Everybody.
Yeah. Well,
Prince Andrew.
Yeah. Well, and I would certainly anticipate that if she knows anything, that's what everybody does, and especially the girls, who never thought they were going to get caught.
Right.
And like rich people who are already.
Well, she's filthy rich, and
yeah. Well, I don't know all the facts. I don't know any of the facts actually.
Well, what stunned me was what was she doing in the United States when she has a French passport? She could have. Seems to me she could have gone back to and holed up in a multi-room penthouse in Paris.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would think that might be safer, where you could just kind of disappear a little bit easier.
You could totally disappear. Number one, and if you're at the top penthouse thing and you've got a guard downstairs locked, you need all kinds of keys to get in. I mean, it's like the Siegel building.
Maybe it was too late by the time she decided to get out of the country. Everybody was already looking for her, so she just decided, you know what?
She's got to know everybody.
I can drive and I can go to New Hampshire.
Yeah. Well, something stinks to me. I think.
It could have been a perfect. I mean, what would seem like a hideaway you could never get caught in. I mean, you'd never have to leave. You could just have stuff brought in and dropped off, and
right.
You hire people. She must have been ratted out by one of the help.
You think
delivery,
so?
Yeah, the butler or somebody, the delivery driver or somebody.
You wouldn't get ratted out unless there was a reward. Now I don't know if there was a reward out.
Well, that's all you need.
Yeah.
Is, the maid, Caesar or something, and they're sworn to secrecy, and then they figure out she's on the FBI most wanted list. So,
well,
that's probably what happened.
What you would have known, of course, is like they did with one of the people that was arrested, I think, by the FBI for one of the Trump people. They already had CNN over there.
Yeah, for Roger Stone.
For Roger Stone, yeah. I mean, God, give me a break. So I would have thought that would have been there, but I guess I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next item on my list: Michigan. Back to Michigan again. Passes a controversial bill to microchip humans voluntarily to protect their privacy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what this is, it's a little what do you call it?
Poison pill.
Poison pill. No, it's like a grain of
rice.
Rice, yeah. And they put it under your skin, and so as you go past places, it'll do things. Like when you leave the store, you got the RFID. It's an RFID thing. The Michigan House of Representatives has passed a controversial bill to microchip humans voluntarily in the state under the guise of protecting their privacy. They're going to protect your privacy. We won't know where you are, except this chip will always be sending out a signal. The Microchip Protection Act, MPA, would allow Michigan employers the use of microchipping to their workers with their consent. However, research has shown that RFID, they're talking about cause cancer. Well, that's bullshit. Under Colley's plan, this was a Michigan guy, a senator or house guy, Michigan employers would be able to utilize microchipping, but could not mandate employees to have such devices implanted. Colley said the measure strikes a good balance between protecting workers' rights, providing businesses with the flexibility to increase efficiency and further grow. Now, here's the thing. How long before it becomes mandatory?
Well,
if you're in a business and you're allowed to do this, you can choose voluntarily to have the chip so we know where you are in the building or whatever, or here's your severance check.
Yeah, well, no, it won't. No, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
They won't need it.
They won't.
No.
And why is that?
What you'll do is, instead of the chip, they'll just give you a temporary barcode tattoo.
Okay.
Something like that. And then they could easily keep track of you just as well, and you could just go like this and wash it off.
Okay. Well, that was not part of the act.
Right. Well, see, they're thinking Orwellian, chip implantment kind of thing. What people don't realize is you're not going to need implants. They're going to be able to do all that stuff anyway. Just they're going to keep track of your individual DNA from space, basically. Well, it's certainly, of course, they have the facial recognition. Right.
But of course, if you're out there running with a mask on and you're required to,
right? Yeah,
good luck on the facial recognition.
Well, and then also all clothes and stuff will have them in as well pretty soon. They'll have little, they already have dust size RFIDs.
Really?
Yeah. So all they have to do is implant them in all of the clothing. That way, they're going to need it for loss prevention anyway, because they're losing money hand over fist at the self-checkout aisles and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So they need the store to keep better track of
Interesting
products.
You should mention that on two things. Let's see, the RFID, the chip, and so forth, and find a way to do it. But one of the things that we're talking about Canada, one of the gates to the subway wasn't working. And so the tokens wasn't working. So people were just, money was just all piled up on the on the thing there. So
nice.
That's how people, got
well,
it.
so in other words, you'll be wearing 27 different RFIDs anyway. So you don't need to have an implant because any one of them could work as your relay or whatever, And you got your central computer anyway, which is your phone. People voluntarily carrying that anyway, for the most part. So
certainly, because certainly your phone links up to your watch fine.
Right, and pretty soon it'll be any part, anything. You could have a display panel just on your, sewn into your pocket. And you just go like this.
You mean for the employers and the employees?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah, exactly. But people could use it as anything. I mean, but yeah, for employees, the logo will be interactive.
Okay. Well, like they do on Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly. There you go,
right.
Captain. It'll work just like that. You won't even have to touch it. You'll just say,
like you do now.
Computer.
What you? Siri, hey Siri.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it'll be interesting to see how that works out. But I thought it was interesting that they're doing a proactive thing here to say that chipping is okay. Of course, you're crazy if you don't chip your pets, for instance.
Yeah.
They've found a lot of them because of the chips.
Yeah.
So. I guess it's the same kind of thing. Okay, next item. We were talking before about, this is an international item. Two international items I've got here. And I don't know how they're getting away with this. The U.S. moves to seize the Iranian petroleum on the new tanker group headed for Venezuela. Now, you know, there was a big tanker that got in there and unloaded a bunch of oil.
Okay.
And because even though Venezuela has the largest reserve of oil known to mankind, they can't get at it, which is, you know, just ludicrously, I mean, it's so hysterical that they don't even have enough talent just to fire up the damn things that they've got there. So anyway, they have to import it all the way from Iran. Apparently there's more than one tanker headed that way. And the United States has a blockade. And I guess it's a perfectly legal blockade.
Yeah, that's it.
You know that our blockade is perfectly legal. So anyway, they're
going to enforce it.
They're going to enforce. Yeah, apparently they're going to board the ship or steal the oil or something. I don't see how they're getting away with it myself. The prosecutors allege that these payments are going straight to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, who Washington has designated as a terrorist organization. So what they're saying is when Venezuela pays money, I don't know where they're getting it, to Iran, that it goes straight to the Guard, not to anything else in the government. That's what they're claiming.
Right.
And that's what they're balancing that's the peak that they're taking. That's, you know, that's my story, and I'm living with it.
That's it.
You know? And so those payments are to the full range of nefarious activities, including the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction and their means of delivery, support for terrorism, and a variety of human rights abuses at home and abroad, says the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. He claims this in a filing. So that's what they're going to stand on to intercept these tankers. I don't know what they're going to do with them. I don't board them, turn them around.
I don't know. I mean, I would guess sell all the oil off.
Here's one of the things that's interesting is on the high seas. Mm-hmm. It's a little tough, it seems to me. It's illegal. It's piracy if you go out there on the high seas and do something like this.
The thing is, people don't understand, there's no such thing as international law. There are no...
Really?
Yeah. There's nothing, there's no body of law out there which says you can't do X or Y or Z.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
There's treaties between people, between groups, between countries, which define what they say they're going to do, but there's nobody to enforce anything.
Well, what do they do in The Hague when they haul those dictators up there?
So they've only used that a couple of times, and it was totally controversial to begin with. It's basically everybody realizes it's an entirely legal fiction, and they're just making shit up, basically.
Well, I thought it was kind of interesting. Have you ever seen the judges there? I mean, they're and of course
they've got the funniest hats ever.
My
I mean,
God.
And that's how you know. That's how you know is the level of pomp is inversely proportional to the actual authority of the person involved.
Well, of course, it's interesting when the guy who's being accused, the accused, sits there and chomps down on his tooth and then keels over and dies because he smuggled in some poison.
Yeah, well, I don't know how often that's happened.
Well, it's once at least that we know of.
Okay.
I mean,
well, yeah, I mean they're sitting there in a cage. I mean, at the end of the day, they just created that to give themselves some sort of.
I wonder how much they get paid to do that.
Oh, I'm sure it's hundreds of thousands of euro. And, I mean, they're top men.
Top.
You know? And to be fair, they are top legal scholars, or but they're just doing what they want to do. Whenever there's a dispute between countries, people talk about the International Criminal Court and things like that, but the countries have to submit to the jurisdiction of those courts to get.
Well, that's what the the World Trade Organization, WTO, and all that stuff. Isn't that what those people do?
Well, those are the organizations who would submit or not submit or bring up a dispute in the international courts.
Okay.
But you would still have to convince a country to submit to the case.
Okay.
So there's nothing there, and So
well, can't they
that's why it all
go to the United Nations and censure somebody?
Well, that's exactly what exactly. What can you do? So
You're bad.
exactly. 17 people come out and say, "How dare you?"
Yeah, right.
You know,
right.
and then they get Greta out there.
Yeah,
to do
that's
it.
right. That's
But
right.
so this is so basically at the end of the day on high seas.
What are we watching here?
Oh, this is just Chrissy Teigen. These are her titty biscuits, as she calls them.
Jesus.
And that's just that was the reprieve after we saw the guy hit the person with the car right before that. This is the eagle carrying the shark here, which is to me the most American thing that we have seen since.
That's what the eagle is.
I mean, you can see the shark. Watch the shark. Will try to get away here.
Well, what's interesting is, of course, and the eagle is our symbol.
Yeah,
So yeah, and we're getting sharks.
that's it.
Okay.
And this is the clearing out Chaz here.
Okay.
And this happened right after our last show.
So Chaz is gone, huh?
Yeah, and they didn't have much resistance.
No.
Apparently, I guess the guys with the guns did not shoot at the police, which is good news for them.
Death sentence, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Okay, next item I've got, which I thought this talk about a reversal of funds. The Mexican state has closed a border with Arizona.
Okay,
The
interesting.
Mexican state of Sonora, officials in Sonora moved quickly to slam the border shut before the start of the July 4th vacation, because apparently tons of people from Arizona, which is like COVID central, all go into Mexico there, and so they said, well, we're not allowing anybody. As you know, Europe has been closed to Americans too.
I heard that. It's hard to believe.
They have basically said, if you're from the United States, now I believe,
How do you do business if you're going over there for a conference or something?
I don't know, you quarantine. What they did say was that if you go to England, apparently, I think you can get in there if you do the quarantining business 14 days.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you're going to go over there for a 1-hour meeting, apparently, no. Now, I mean, I don't know how they get around it, but they have basically closed the border. I think I might have even mentioned it. They opened the border to places like Somalia and other places that don't.
Yeah, you did. You said
COVID,
Rwanda,
and stuff like that.
Well,
but the United States,
I wonder what Italy and Sweden are doing.
Sweden, it turns out, I didn't get the whole article, but apparently whatever it is, the COVID business has plummeted.
Right.
They've all gone back to normal almost.
Well, yeah. Well, they never sort of did.
They never did it, except it was on your own.
Right.
But no, it apparently has disappeared from Sweden and Italy as well.
So I wonder if it'll be open season on business in Sweden.
Don't know. So anyway, I thought it was interesting that Trump, who wants to close the border, now Mexico says we're closing it.
That's right.
So we're not going to
build a wall, eh?
Yeah, the wall. No, I'm sorry. We're going to build it on the Mexican side. Not going to let any of those COVID people in there. So, at any rate, now here's something that you would know about. Let me make sure here we're getting here towards the end. Yeah, here's something that you would know about.
Okay.
The Japanese city kills smartphone zombies. It bans texting while walking.
Okay.
Yamato, a city in Japan, became the first municipality in the country to ban people from using smartphones while walking in public areas. And apparently what's happened is that we've seen, there was like one of the videos they showed was this guy that plummeted in New York City. He, how they open places where the trash barrels are and stuff like that. They have, where you come up and it's open. He was walking down, whoom, and fell straight in there because he was texting, on his phone. And they've said that they've had some accidents in the road, cars are coming along. And so anyway, Japan has taken the initiative. And what they said is if you're walking, you can't be texting.
Right.
Now, the way they did it was, I thought it was interesting. It's to prevent smartphone zombies.
Right.
They call them. I don't know what the word in Japanese is. You do, huh? What's zombie in Japanese?
Zombie.
Okay. From endangering themselves and others as they walk down the street with their heads buried in a screen. The Kanagawa prefecture passed the new rule last week and will go into effect this Wednesday, which I guess is this coming Wednesday, because this was from like a day or two ago. Violators will not be fined or imprisoned. But this is Japan. You'll be shamed, I guess. No, I'm serious. It's Japan, right? You can do that, can't you?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to lose
social
face,
credit score or something.
well, that's in China. But I mean, but the purpose is to bring awareness that smartphones should not be used when not in motion. So what it turns out is, if you stop and use your smartphone, that's fine, but you can't take a step while you're using it. So, but I mean, this is a country. This is Japan. I mean, they're gonna go with this, aren't they?
Yeah.
They'll absolutely.
They'll abide.
They don't have a problem with it. So when you stop, they got to make sure they get out of the way.
Yeah.
So they don't obstruct anybody.
Yeah.
But they'll do it.
Yeah.
So that's, but it is interesting to see how many people, especially here at the university. I mean, there's people wandering all over the place looking at their damn phones. What?
Well, this is just another, what you've always had ever since people have started walking are distractions. And people have to be careful what they do when you walk. And it turns out that every time we come up with a new shiny thing, people get distracted by it for a little while, and then they put it down, and then they just walk again.
Well, in New York, for instance, I can understand why you'd have to look all the time in order not to run into people.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're in a crowd,
it's active.
But-
it takes some effort to walk. Like
Right.
you have to do something.
yeah,
It's not just.
But I mean, I can understand if you're in a place that is sparsely walked, why you could bump into things or run into stuff.
You can, but at the same time, I mean, it still takes just a little bit of effort because people can pop up in your field of vision. Somebody can walk in from the side, and I mean, and driving is the same way. You don't need these types of one-size-fits-all policies. All you have to do is say, you're responsible for where you're headed.
Okay.
And so, if you walk into traffic, guess what? That's what you did.
Yeah.
And you own it. And you don't have to restrict adults from movement because there's always been
Well, they're going to do it in Japan.
distractions. Like the same thing happened when they first invented the Walkman. You can't have a Walkman on while you're walking around or whatever. You can't have. I mean, there's a bunch.
That's one of the great things about the Walkman was you could.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it was called a Walkman.
Well, and before that, you had a giant thing here
Right.
that blocked off
A
your
boom
entire
box, yeah,
field
right.
of vision to the right. That was fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, the last thing I've got here,
Okay.
hopefully you got this as well, is the annual Nathan's hot dog eating.
Oh yeah,
The guy. This is amazing to me.
Didn't the chick win again?
Yeah. And so the guy. The
Oh,
big
they
news
have
was Joey Chestnut.
They separated out by gender.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, they always have. I
Okay.
think. And this year, instead of the usual,
I think
he used to be outside.
Okay.
And the girl managed to wolf down about 45 hot dogs.
Yeah, I saw 48 or something.
Or yeah, something like that. And this is the second or third or fourth or fifth time she's won it.
Okay.
Now the other guy, Joey Chestnut, he's ate over 75. It's 10 minutes.
Okay.
Over 75 hot dogs with the bun. He's won it. Let's see. Competitive eating for years.
I thought they stopped doing this because people were dying and stuff.
No. Consumed during the annual Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest in 2018, he set a world record, but Saturday he was looking for more. He ate 70 hot dogs for the fifth consecutive year, has won the Nathan's Hot Dog in 13 of the past 14 years. Why did they let this guy compete, I wonder? I mean, and not only that, the number 2 person was like 30 behind.
Wow.
I mean, he could have quit. It's a 10-minute thing.
Yeah.
They said he could have quit at 6 minutes and won.
Yeah.
So, as he said, He said, quote,
Makes me wanna
minute
eat a
6
hot
is
dog.
where I really missed the, because there's no crowd.
Right.
They were in booths, all plexiglassed apart and everything, and they had 6 on each, 6 women and 6 guys. And it wasn't outside like it usually is.
It totally makes me want to eat a hot dog.
Well, yeah, well, we're going to have some tonight, yeah, actually. Minute 6 is where I really missed the crowd, and I hit a wall. And it took me a little bit more work to get through it, he said. This is a crazy year, and I'm happy I was able to get the record. So, but I mean, now, it also turns out by eating 75 hot dogs and buns, he consumed roughly 21,750 calories.
Wow.
I mean, that's 10 times your normal consumption per day.
And I bet he's a little skinny guy too, huh?
Yeah, he's not fat.
Hmm.
When I saw the pic, he was not
I
fat.
wonder if he does any exercise or if it's.
Well, apparently he's a professional eater.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, something to burn off those calories.
Darren Breeden, who finished second, ate 42 hot dogs.
Man.
So, making Chestnut's
That's
33 dog margin of victory, the largest since the contest
33 dogs.
separated from when. Yeah. No, I mean, just,
That's crazy.
I mean,
wow.
but I mean,
Well,
apparently it's a 4th of July deal.
it reminds me. I mean, hey, more power to him. But it reminds me of one of these videos we're about to see here in a minute, where they toppled the Columbus statue.
Yes, in Baltimore.
Yeah.
In Baltimore, yeah.
And then they all cheer as if they've accomplished something.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking to myself, boy, I mean, none of these people have anything to aspire to.
No.
I mean, they have nothing in their lives to be grateful for. I mean, that they recognize that they have done that makes them feel better than tearing down some statue. It's
Well,
crazy.
I guess, what are they going to march over to Washington, D.C., which is the District of Columbia, and have that changed?
I don't know if they're going to run up against. I mean, as I posted in my Twitter, you got to judge people in the totality, and you have to take them for their best attributes and contributions to society.
Mm-hmm.
So, in that light, otherwise you're not going to have anybody left, because, I mean, there's nobody. I mean, who are you going to put there? I mean, everybody's going to have something wrong with them judged in today's present light. And so...
Well, what? Oh, yeah, okay.
So the point is that I don't think you're going to root out Washington from
No,
the country. There's
no,
too many
of course not.
cities and
Columbus,
avenues.
Columbus. How many places are named Columbus?
A million.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, really.
And it's the same with Jefferson and Adams and
All the schools.
Yeah.
Now, as far as I'm concerned, as I say, I grew up, a couple hundred yards from Wilson High School, and as far as I'm concerned, they could change the name of that one.
Well, sure. I mean, look, they could change a whole bunch of them. I'm just saying, I don't think they're going to have the momentum change all of them.
No, they can't. They can't do it. I mean, no. But it is interesting to see the people that obviously, as you say, have no life. And
No life. I mean,
they have no life, and this is what you do for a living.
I put on my Twitter feed one of the things that got the most retweets and hits in a while, which was, I said, talking about the vandalism on the federal courthouse here we're about to see, that was the result of minimum wage laws. Which, if you think about it, if there were no minimum wage laws and they could hire these kids for $1 or $2 an hour, they would have stuff to do. They wouldn't be able to just go down there and sit around. Somebody would put them to work, one way or another. And I think I misquoted the labor participation rate either last show or maybe it was when you and I were just talking, but I said it was 50%. Apparently, according to Peter Schiff, it's 60%, which is not too far off the normal 65%, but still pretty far. I mean, relatively speaking, that's a lot.
What is the 60%?
Labor participation.
Oh, labor participation, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
So the concept is that, I mean, to me, I would just think that we could solve a lot of these issues if a lot more people were at work.
Right. Well, one way to get them at work is to cut off their welfare. That's what they did in believe it or not, of all people, Bill Clinton signed the bill in 1996, and basically chopped a lot of the and it was welfare to work or whatever, and it worked.
Yeah.
It worked for for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and then they reversed it all again.
Well, I think actually the welfare numbers have been coming down for a while. I think even under Obama they came down. And,
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and Trump they came down further. So, but you're right. Clinton started it, and I think they're all still using the same program.
Well, I do know that what happened. There were two things that happened that I remember. One was my stepfather was bemoaning the fact that up in Defuniak Springs, this little dorky town up on the Panhandle, that they actually was a lady that was hired to go out and find people and tell them how they could qualify for welfare, and that was her job. Was
Right.
to get people on welfare.
Right.
And did you know? You've been living just fine, it's more or less. But you can get money from the government, and that was her job.
Mm-hmm.
So and he was saying, what the hell? How can you hire somebody to go out there and do this sort of thing?
It's going to be interesting to see. All right. Well, let me see. You got a couple of things maybe. Oh, one thing about the election again, real quick. They've been talking about this mail-in voting situation versus, and apparently that's different from absentee balloting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how, except, I mean, even Tim Pool came on and said he got a ballot from somebody who doesn't even live at the house anymore.
Yeah.
I guess a former owner or something. But anyway, my question is this. If it's safe to bank online, how come we can't vote online? I mean, why do they need to collect a paper ballot? They're just going to digitize it again and put it back into a computer.
Right.
So the movement from computer to paper and back to computer, right there, you're going to get more slippage than I could possibly imagine you could get if they just link it here's your secure login to this website. You've got a single number, your social security number or whatever it is, your voting ID. And you sign in and you get your one vote, and you can come back and verify later that vote is still checked as that or whatever it is, but that's how it stays, or if you can dispute it by mail or whatever. And I just don't understand why they can't do that. Seems easy enough.
Well, as you say, that it all goes into the computer anyway.
Right.
I know down here, for instance, it's a paper. It's a big piece of paper, and you fill in the little the little lines,
yeah.
And they run it through the
Scanner.
and literally by 7:05, they've got the results downtown.
Yeah.
I mean, it's done.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be 16 miles away, and they have the results downtown in 5 minutes.
I just think they could cut out 3 computers levels of interaction there, and a bunch of mistake and slip up. And
there are going to be people that are going to be screaming bloody murder, of course, because, as you say, once you, what would be the interesting part would be if you went in and you signed in with your social security number, let's say, which of course which everybody knows what it is anyway. I'm sorry. Was never supposed to be in the Social Security law. It said can never be used as an identification. Okay, but it is, and we all know that. But the thing is, you go to sign on to your vote, it says it's already been voted.
Well, but then you would know. Then you would send in your paper dispute. It would have a thing there that says if you believe there's some fraud associated with your vote, then send in a thing. And yeah, I mean that would be. Somebody would have to, obviously it would still be susceptible to attacks and that kind of stuff, but I would think that you could, by eliminating the transfer from one medium to another, just mathematically that has got to eliminate not only mistakes, but also extra opportunity for fraud. There's...
Well, then the other thing is, of course, the other thing that happens in this, which is kind of interesting, they're always panicky about people registering to vote ahead of time.
Right.
So, but the question is, what if you're not registered, or, you go in and you type in your social security number and they say you're not registered?
Well, look, this would be in addition to the methods that we use today.
Okay.
What you do is you'd say, look, if you don't want to come down here and vote, because they can't eliminate that. That's probably in the Constitution somewhere, how you have to vote.
No, I don't think that voting is in the Constitution.
Oh, no?
No, it's strictly a state measure. Strictly states.
No, I don't mean the federal constitution. I meant some.
Oh,
just
you mean our local
Yeah.
Florida? Yeah, could be. Yeah, it might be.
but I mean, either way, I think it's a little harder to change than normal. But
Well, we have our supervisor of elections down here. You know, that's a job for life practically, and you know, their job is to get the machines out and everything. I don't know.
yeah, I would just think that they could do it. You could add on voting by online. Anyway, all right. Finally, we had. You saw the girls get hit by the car.
No, what was it?
Actually, it's coming up here, I think. Finally, some protesters who were out on the road got slammed by, here it is, right here. Just bit.
Whoa!
Yep.
Holy smoke!
Yep. One of those girls just died today, a few days later. That's why I have the titty biscuits on right after that, to bring you back
I see.
from the shock there, you know.
Well, so one of the girls died.
Yeah.
They get the driver.
Yeah, he pulled over,
Yeah, okay.
and it's ironic, of course. It's a black guy, and the girl, and you saw him try to swerve there.
Uh-huh.
So he'll have that in his defense. You could clearly see he probably couldn't see where he was going, but that doesn't stop their calls for murder
Yeah.
and stuff. And of course, it's ironic, of course, because it's a black guy who killed a white girl
Uh-huh.
out protesting for Black lives in the street. Which
Any irony around here?
yeah, and she's in a freeway, which I guess there's some question as to whether or not it was closed because the people were there or by the people who were there or whatever. But one more international news real quick. Hong Kong, gong gong.
Yeah, gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they passed the law, and apparently now the mainland China is in full control.
Yeah.
Is there a flight out of Hong Kong or what? I wonder. I mean,
Take it now.
I mean, you think about the businesses that now about Hong Kong that have been there for decades,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, and they're in some a billion-dollar building, and now they got to hoof it out of there and go to Singapore.
Yeah. Bad. It's bad situation, and they're like, even the protesters aren't even going out anymore, from what I understand.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I guess we're gonna have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
Well,
So, all right. Well, let's see if anybody joined us. Hey, Kenny Defuniak. Yeah, that's right. Let's see. Yep. We all know our social security numbers too. I think it could work out just fine. So, let's see. Oh, wait, where's our... Here we go. All right. Thanks, Kevin, for these tracks. We really appreciate it. Thanks, Kenny, for joining us. I hope you guys enjoyed it, had a little fun here. We're trying to keep it upbeat with the golden retrievers there. So we'll be back in a few days on the 8th, Wednesday. See you soon.